Well, hi everyone. We are live with our first ever Hot Takes interview. You know that we had to have the man, the myth, the legend, Pastor Mike. He's here to give us just the dirt on his life and some questions about faith and spirituality. So we're really excited to have him. And you've never done anything like this before.
No, I haven't. I'm not a big hot wing person usually.
So you're going to be really in trouble once we get to this half of our lineup.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, we got 10 questions for you, 10 hot wings in ascending order. Let's dive in with our first question, and we'll dive into our first wing.
Sounds great.
So this question comes from Haley Dalton. She says that it's no secret that you're bald. And she's curious what your beauty routine looks like for the top of your head. How do you keep that so shiny?
Yeah, I tell you that one of the things that I always wondered before I shaved my head, it's like, if you shave your head, do you use soap or shampoo? And so it's like I actually use shampoo. So it's, even though there's not much there to shampoo, but for some reason it keeps it a little cleaner. And I've just got this natural Italian, I'm partially half Italian, kind of natural oily skin. So I keep it nice and shiny, even to the degree that in my mid-50s I still have acne. So that's kind of like but that adds to this nice little shine. My mom says I should wear makeup on Sunday morning because it shines too much. But they're hot, but not terrible yet.
You doing all right?
I'm lasting. Honey actually is pretty good on that one.
Good.
It overcomes the hot.
Yeah, that's a nice mix there. So we have another student who was curious, what is your greatest fear? What is Pastor Mike afraid of?
The serious answer on that is that my biggest fear is that I couldn't do things that matter. That I love to live life in such a way that I'm contributing, I'm doing something. And, not having the freedom to do that, losing my health and not being able to minister to other people or do things that matter. That is my biggest fear.
Sure. Take a very funny question and took it deep. What's the surface level question? If you had to pick like the dark or snakes or what's kind of that fear or kind of more phobia that you would have?
I would say, when you think I don't like spider, if they had one of those big spiders. In Florida, we had these big, I remember we had a couple times with these big spider, they're called banana spiders. And they're not even that bad.
Yeah.
But we saw that and it's just like, oh, spiders, they're so weird looking, they freak you out. When you think about something that looks almost alien, spiders are weird looking and they just freak you out.
Good. All right, well, if you want to prank Pastor Mike, spiders is the way to go. Now you know. All right, let's move on. We're going with, for our fourth sauce of the day, the Louisiana Perfect Hot Sauce. It says on the bottle that 1 drop does it. Well, we put a lot more than 1 drop, so let's see how we do here.
I don't know if I should wait until after I ask, and then I can still talk. That's moving up.
We have one of our students wants to know what your most embarrassing story is, specifically from your years in high school. We've got a lot of high school students watching this. So from those high school years, what happened that was really just embarrassing?
I actually thought of one, I'm in 8th grade, and I remember one day I was really tired for some reason, and I'm back in the class, and I'm half asleep, and the class is really messing up, just messing around, and he lost it. He just starts yelling at the class, and you guys aren't, you've got this, the whole class, you've got this huge assignment. He writes this huge assignment on the board, and I'm like half out of it, waking up, and all my defenses were down, and my real thoughts slipped out. And I said, it's like, do you know what you can do with that assignment? You can take that, and told him very explicitly where he could put it and what he could do with it. And everybody's like, it's quiet. And then it's like, I woke up and I thought about what I just said. This is bad. And so I got taken down to the office right away and
I call your mom?
And called my mom, and
what'd she say? What'd she think of that little outburst?
The funny thing is, I didn't get in that big of trouble in this case from my parents. They're like, oh, we know that's not you. We know.
Oh, okay.
And in reality, some of what we're talking about in church is, that was me. That's the kind of things that I was thinking. And some of the real me came out. But I surprised I didn't get in more trouble with my parents than I did. I had some serious detention time.
Yeah. And then still went on to become a pastor. So God can do amazing things.
God can redeem.
All right, so our fifth sauce right in the middle here is an extra hot sauce, chili habanero, green sauce. Let's dig in, and you're doing well so far. I'm impressed.
I'm lasting. Yeah, he's eating more. I'm getting my one bite. Ooh.
These are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're moving up a little bit.
I thought it was okay, and then it kicked in like that. Just that.
Yeah.
It had a second kick to it.
Uh-huh.
I was like, that isn't that bad.
So, who is your favorite disciple of the 12 original disciples, and why?
I was like Peter. Part of it is that Peter was just, on the one hand, he was a risk taker. He was the guy that he would say things that embarrassed him, but also sometimes stepping out, he got it right. Part of it is, if I look at it, out of all the disciples, the one that we know the most about their failure is Peter.
Sure.
And so he's got some pretty big failures in there, and that also gives me. It's kind of like you see his bravery, but you see his failure, and you see God using and redeeming him in spite of his failures.
Sure.
And that gives me a lot more hope.
Yeah, and that's a great reminder for all of us to know that we can mess up and still it's that love for God that we have that is really always looking for. So. Great. Well, let's dive into our sixth wing. We got happy hour, keeping it hot. Again, this is starting to get up there too, but still in our middle section here. So we got to be able to survive through it. So what lesson from the Bible has impacted your life the most? And maybe even just like recently, what is God really speaking to you, and what lesson is he really laying on your heart?
Yeah, I remember one day I'd been reading 1 Corinthians 2. And in 1 Corinthians 2, I knew nothing amongst you but Christ and him crucified. And it wasn't, Gab stayed with this basics. What he was saying is, okay, the whole gospel is Christ and him crucified. That's how you come to know Christ. That's how you grow in Christ. That's everything. Mm-hmm. It's like the whole gospel is so simple. It's in a few words, yet it's so complicated that you'll spend your whole life trying to figure it out. And really what that means is that the way that you come to Jesus is you come and you say, God, I agree with you. I'm a sinner. I agree that I can't fix myself. I deserve your punishment. And I ask you to forgive me, and I ask you to give me righteousness that I don't have. And that's how we become a Christian. Well, and what it means though is that every other area. So if I'm struggling with pride, if I'm struggling with lust, if I'm struggling with gossip or speech, if I'm struggling with whatever it would be, it's just that same message. So I come and I say, okay, God, on this one issue, I agree with you. I'm a sinner. I can't fix myself. I agree with you. I deserve your punishment. I ask you to forgive me, and I ask you to give me the righteousness I don't have. And it's really just taking that message of the gospel and applying it to every area of life. And God just reveals one after another and say, okay, now apply it here.
Yeah. All right, we're moving into our trio of torchbearer sauces. There's zombie line, so we're moving up here now. You might want to have your milk ready. We're going to start with their son of zombies. So we have the zombie apocalypse later. This is the son of zombie, wing number 7. Let's jump in. All right, along with that, as we dive into these hotter wings, let's really dive into some hot questions here. Kendall Brown, one of our students, she wants to know, how should Christians handle it when they get hated on, or when people are mean to them, or don't want to be friends with them? Anything in that area of just hate, or not persecution, but that type of idea where they're excluded or whatever because of their faith. How do we handle that as Christians?
It's important, first of all, to realize, don't be surprised by that, or don't think that you failed. That Jesus talks about, hey, they hated me, they're going to hate my disciples. If somebody hates Jesus, they're going to hate people that represent Jesus well. I think when he said that, it's basically, don't take it personally. Mm-hmm. They don't hate you. They hate, Jesus saying they're hating me.
Sure.
And so don't take it personally. But then the other thing is, what does Jesus say? Bless those who persecute, bless and don't curse. And recognize that, we're called to just love that person. Probably my favorite verse on that is Romans 12:21. And it's, don't be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Mm-hmm. And the idea is that, somebody will come and they'll be mean to you. They'll curse you. They'll say something about you. And it's real natural for us to want to go back and treat them with anger, treat them with, reject them. And but when I do that, what I'm doing is that I'm becoming like the thing that I hate. And I don't have to, like the person, but I'm called to love them. And right before it says, give them, if they're hungry, give them something to eat. If they're thirsty, give them something to drink. Basically, if they have a need, just be kind and just refuse to go down to their level. And what I've found is that God will at times just use that consistency to soften their heart. Because it's, and I want to warn you that there might be times you do that, and they might they might ramp it up. They might even be meaner, because what they're doing is they're like, I've got to make sure that you're not different. I've got to prove that your life isn't really that different. They don't want you to be different, because if you're really different, if you could really love, when they show kindness, it reveals what's broken in them. And that's what Romans 12 says. It's like burning coals on their head. It's like these coals of conviction. And so even when you do that, don't be shocked if they hate you all the more, but realize that a lot of times when somebody's going to break and they might actually come and ask you, it might be right after they hated you the most. But you're just that living out Christian love and the grace is that's what's going to win hearts. And not everybody, but it will win some.
It's a great response. All right, well, speaking of turning the heat, let's turn it up on us. We got wing number 8. It's the Garlic Reaper of the Torchbearer Sauces line. So let's dive in and see what we got. This one has a great garlic flavor. You can really taste it, but it's going to come for you once you swallow.
Yeah, and my last answer, it's like, I think I breathed out some of the, it's kind of like, oh man.
I think I feel your breath over here even a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, so on a similar vein, I think one of the things that is most misunderstood in the church is doubt, and how God views doubt and how we should interact with doubt. So maybe speak to that a little bit. How should Christians deal with doubt? And really nail this on the head. Is doubting a sin?
Doubting is not a sin. And that's really important to understand. And everybody's going to go through periods of doubt. In fact, I will tell you, it's a healthy thing. When you think about faith, Hebrews 11 talks about faith is the essence of the things unseen. And so what you have is faith is this is hard.
Yeah, we're starting to feel it.
Faith is the unseen reality of God. And so faith is believing what I can't see. And then I'm out there in the world and I'm seeing the world's values, and I'm seeing, I have my feelings and I don't see God in that way. And so faith is the ability, how do I believe in God when I can't see him? And if God always let us feel him, the fact is I would never really have to have faith. Mm-hmm. So God at times will allow us to not feel him. And he does that because he wants to, it's actually healthy for us to go through times when I don't see or feel him, when he doesn't make sense. I know this about God, I feel this, and then the question is, what am I going to believe? And the doubt is what I'm feeling, and faith is saying I'm choosing to believe what I know over what I feel.
Yeah.
And if you never went through that period of time, you would never have a deep faith. I've been with, in fact, I remember a guy that was a pastor that I worked with that had never gone through, he was raised in a Christian home, never had really hard things happen in his life. Later on in life, he went through a period of trial, and it rocked him to the point that he dropped out of pastoral ministry because he just didn't have the maturity to be able to have a faith that was able to believe when he didn't see and feel. So doubt, don't feel guilty for it. The worst thing in the world is if you feel guilty and then you don't admit it. That's terrible. You need to be able to come and say, I feel this doubt, go admit it, go talk to people and ask for help.
Yeah, we as a church and as other Christians need to be gracious and understanding and welcoming when people come to us and have doubt.
Not even doubt. Like, I'll tell you another big one is like something bad happens and you feel angry at God. And they're like, oh, you can't feel mad at God. Oh, yeah, you can. It's like, you do, and God knows it. So it's not like you're going to tell
It's not
God.
a secret. He's not like, oh, man.
It's not like you say, I'm
Surprise.
angry at God, and God's like, I can't believe it. Basically, if you say it, God's like, all right, now that you admit it, now we can deal with it. In James 1:5, let him ask wisdom. Basic wisdom is knowing how to apply God's word to my life. If you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives generously to all without finding fault. God's not going to condemn you for your doubt or your struggle.
Awesome. Great response. Well, let's dive in. We got number 9. We got the zombie apocalypse sauce from Torchbearers. I see you are. Well, my voice is getting a little slurred, but Mike, you're starting to sweat up there. I got a hat and some hair to hide that, but yeah, you're.
I need a bigger towel.
We got some droplets, but let's jump in. Let's see how you handle this one.
You're eating the whole thing, man.
You gotta go big or go home. I thought my students had more faith in my ability to eat hot stuff, but they were like, no, Joe's gonna cry. So I'm out here defending my honor. I'm gonna eat the whole wing every time. The church is a wonderful thing. It's a great thing, but it's also flawed. I mean, if you could just like wring the church by its head and like shake it awake, what would you tell? What would you say? Come on, like wake up and change this.
You know, a lot of churches are increasingly have this idea that, you know, you go to God, and if you go to God, then He's going to give you the stuff to be happy. He's going to be. It's almost like God is a means to happiness. You know?
Prosperity gospel.
Yeah. And, you know, so the things that can make you happy, or if your life goes well, and if God's, you know, but if you do good things, and God's going to give you friends, and He's going to give you success, and He's going to, and in reality, it's not the teaching. It's, you know, I would tell you, I think the Bible teaches that, you know, that contentment comes through God, but God isn't the means to it. God is the end. And so it's like, if, you know, do I believe as a follower of Christ that you'll be happy? That's the core of contentment. It is.
Yeah.
But it's not like, okay, if I go to God, then God will give me these other things. No, if I go to God, then in God I find contentment, whether I have those other things or not.
It's not God's stuff that makes us happy. It's
right,
Him. It's
a relationship with God. And that's what you see. You know, if you're like on a mission trip and you see these believers in really poor countries, or you see Paul, who's, you know, in the Bible, he's praising God in jail. And, you know, it's not like you're happy to go through these hard times, but you're content.
Cool. You've made it through all the way to number 10. So I'm going to, you know, go ahead and follow their tradition and put a little dab on there. You want to put a little dab on yours, or you go for it?
Yeah.
Look at that. P. Mike, everyone.
I'll try to make it as small as possible.
He's going to eat from the other side.
Yeah. I thought about it.
All right, well, let's do it. And then we got your last question.
I think maybe the trick is to like swallow it without chewing it. That might make it easier.
Oh, then I'm screwed. I just chewed that thing for like 30 seconds. 20 chews. My mom used to make me count.
Yeah, I need the hat.
What are thoughts on that sauce?
It's going to stay with me for a while. It's going to run out real quickly. I'm not sure which one.
Yeah, I'm going to poop fire.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. Mike, what is your favorite Bible verse?
I go back to what you talked about like before, the you know, the thing that I learned. It's 1 Corinthians 2:2. You know, I know nothing amongst you but Christ and Him crucified. You know, I think I love that. I'll give you one other one since I already did that one. I love Philippians 4:8. You know, whatever things are, you know, I won't get word for word, but whatever things are honorable and excellent, praiseworthy, and, you know, pure, you know, think about these things. And really, one of the things, that's such a huge verse for life. It's like something that I have to remind myself, and when I do, it reminds me. Because, you know, there's a lot in life that isn't good and wonderful and excellent and praiseworthy. There's a lot of stuff that's, you know, crappy in life. There's a lot of stuff with people that are really frustrating. And what Paul's saying, it's not like, oh, life's great. And just, you know, he's saying there's a lot of stuff in life that's terrible, but focus on the things that are good. Mm-hmm. When I was in seasons of even a marriage, when I chose to focus on her, I allowed myself to be focused on her negative traits. She was, you know, I was like, I thought I had a pretty bad wife.
Yeah.
When I choose to focus on her good, I've got a wonderful wife.
Sure.
And she hasn't changed. I've changed. Mm-hmm. And
your heart, the heart perspective,
or my life and what's going on. I can choose to focus on the problems, and I can be really overwhelmed, or I can focus on the good, and I can be really thankful. And you know, and there's a lot of things in life I could look at it if I just chose to focus on the negative things. If you really do it, your life gets a whole lot better. Mm-hmm. It really gets a whole lot better, and you appreciate people more, and you appreciate things more, and you're happier. You're just it's a great idea.
Cool. Well, very good. Well, Mike, I'm impressed. You're a champ. You really you're sweating, but you went through it. You answered all our questions. We loved having you on Hot Takes. Clearly, next time we're gonna have to start here and then just move on further. But thank you guys. We loved having you. Glad you're on Hot Takes, and
I'm glad to be with y'all. Appreciate you and all that you do and all that's happening in the youth ministry.